This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by trainer manager extraordinaire Dave Coldwell over Zoom. Dave, how are you?
I'm very good, thanks, mate. Very good. How's things with you?
All good. Busy fight period seems to be among us. We're only up to a week away from some terrific shows next week. Before we come on to them, just kind of some reflections on your gym. So we saw Hopey Price most recently return with that stoppage victory against James Beach Jr. We know how tough and durable James Beach is, so I'm sure you was particularly pleased with how he went about getting the job done.
Yeah, do you know what? That was his first fight at featherweight. We didn't want to go in with just an 8 rounder against a international or just an average sort of opponent. I wanted to go in where he could kind of like not so much compare himself, but kind of have a look at the levels that that you need to be fighting for these British titles. And in James Beach is just coming straight off the back of fighting Nathaniel Collins for the British and Commonwealth titles at featherweight. He's beaten Raza Hamza, who's now fighting Collins for that British title and Commonwealth titles. So it was a good first fight at featherweight for him to have a look at, and he boxed brilliantly and did a great job on him, and you know. Broke him down and then started stepping up the last 2-3 rounds, and then you saw there he was retired on his stool by his corner. And for me, that was a great way to introduce himself to the domestic featherweight division. Definitely.
You've obviously always tried to push Hopey Price and the talent he possesses, Dave, to everyone, telling them how special of a talent he is. How quickly do you want to see him now progress through the featherweight rankings?
Um, One more fight. It looks, we've been. I did actually say that I wanted because the Hamza Collins fight is a good fight, but I expect Collins to get through that. He's a champion. He's unblemished and he's looked great throughout his career. So from the outside looking in, I'm taking it as well. I believe that Collins wins that fight. So I did say to Matchroom that I wanted a southpaw for Hope his next fight before he fights for that British title. And we've managed to get it's going to be a British title final eliminator, and that's against a southpaw in Conor Cohill. That's a perfect fight, last step before he goes in for that British title, and then we take it one step at a time, obviously. But
Uh,
I'm on the move with his progress. He's back in the gym. He's had a week on holiday, 10 days on holiday, and he come back, and he's back in the gym already. And he's now. We were talking this morning. Now we've got rid of that. The not you're always learning, but that phase where I know Eddie and everybody's been wanting it to be rushed a bit earlier, but I know what I want to do with Hope, and I don't want to just throw him in there. This kid's got great talent. He just needs each fight, learning about himself, and then each bit just improving. And now every fight moving on from here is a meaningful fight, an exciting sort of fight, not just obviously for Hope in his development, but for people on the outside. Finally eliminated for the British against an unbeaten kid. Touch wood, everything goes right. We win that. You fight for the British title, then it's defensive. Then you see how things escalate from there. So it's an exciting period for Hopey Price now. So we're looking forward to it all.
Dave, just a final one on your gym. Ebanie Bridges, we haven't spoken since you linked up together. Can you just walk me through how that came about, your plans with her? And I've seen Nina Hughes constantly calling for that fight as well.
Yeah. So I got asked would I be interested in training Ebony. Well, first it was a case of, oh, have you got the maximum amount that you want to train in your gym? I'm like, no, there's space for that time of space for one. And then I was asked about Ebony. I was like, what? I've never really spoke to her. I've never ever spoke to her. I've just spoke to say hello, and that's it. Like literally, are you right? That's it. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, you know, she'd like to work with you. And I was like, oh, okay. And I didn't really think that was real because there was never any conversation other than hello. That's it. Um, but yeah, so I said I'd meet her and see, if gel or if we get on, and she came up for a session. But as soon as I met her, she's completely different to what I thought. Um, she's like one of the lads, full of banter, but a grafter. She's very, very intelligent. So yeah, we took it from there. So she obviously said to me that she's moving up north, and she needs a coach up north because it's too much of a commute to London. So yeah, so that's how that started really, and making progress, mate. It's going all right.
What are her plans? Is it looking for unification fights, as I mentioned, Nina Hughes there as well?
So yeah, listen, I'm seeing obviously Nina and a coach and whatever, and they're all bent on this fight. Obviously, Emily's been. It's quite clear she's stated before she wants unifications, but she has also said before that before Nina started speaking about it, she has said before that she doesn't need to have a fight back or so because she's always talked about it for next year. Now, she's coming up her 8 months out with a major hand operation. 8 months. That's not just, you're not talking about a few weeks. That's a big old injury, that is. So it's going to take time anyway. And also, she's just moved up north, completely different location. Like, you're not talking about 20 minutes up the road. It's a huge move. And then on top of that, she's got a new coach. So she's not going to be fighting no unifications straight away, So she's gonna get, let's get the fight out of way that she's gonna have this year, and then we take it from there, and then we'll have a unification. But I think for whatever you want to think about Ebanie Bridges, I mean, before I start working, the one thing I would never say is that she's a bottle job or she's scared or anybody. I've seen her fight, and one thing is she's she for all better choices in the world, she's got a set of balls on her, and she's got so much bottle, so much heart. So it's not that she's scared, but you would want to fight. If you want the unification, you would want, if you're calling someone out, you'd want them to be at their best. So there's no excuse. You can't say, oh well, people can't then say, oh yeah, but she had this time out, she had that time out, blah blah, new cut, whatever, right? So the fight will happen, no doubt, but I understand Nina's wanting that big fight. She's had she's I didn't realize that she was 40 herself. I didn't realize she was older than Ebony. So yeah, of course she wants a big fight straight away to make the money out of the game. I've seen a few little things that have been said on Twitter, and it's like a coach saying about the board needs to look at her. Banning her getting on scales in underwear and stuff like that. That's his opinion, fair enough. But the only reason why he's calling and Nina are calling Ebanie Bridges out rather than the other champion or anything else is because she's the one that brings the eyes. She's the one that's the biggest draw. And she's the one that you're probably going to get paid more money for. And the whole reason of that is because of what she does at the weigh-ins. So you can't turn around as a coach of the guy that's chasing that a coach of the woman that's chasing that fight because of those reasons, because of her profile. You can't turn around and say, "Oh, she needs that needs to be banned from what she's doing." Because if that wasn't allowed, you wouldn't be in line to get this big payday to fight that girl. Do you get what I'm saying? So, I get what they're doing, and they want to build the fight. And the good people, I like them. I've met Nina, I've known Kevin for a while over the years on the circuit. So it's nice that they're in the spotlight and they're getting, she's world champion. Do your own thing and the fight will happen. I'm no doubt the fight's going to happen because it's a big fight. It's two British world champions. All they got to do is keep winning. But obviously it's not going to happen next.
Dave, next week Inoue Fulton. It's been,
cannot wait.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable fight. It's probably not got the recognition it deserves because of when it falls, obviously in the middle of the Spence-Crawford fight week and those activities there. But just your thoughts, please. Who do you think comes out on top? How does that fight play out?
So again, like you say, it's not got the publicity it deserves. Inoue doesn't get the publicity he deserves anyway. He's an absolute monster. But Fulton, in his own right, is an outstanding champion, an outstanding fighter. He's got all the tools himself. This is a real intriguing fight. Does that immense power step up? But then again, it's not just about, his power. He's got an unbelievable boxing brain, and he can box. He's a very, very good fighter, all-round fighter. It's just a good fight, mate. I would. I don't know. I don't know when to fight. It's one of
Get
those.
those splinters out, Dave. Get those splinters out.
I know, but I genuinely don't. You could just discount Fulton because I've seen more of Inoue properly, and the wins on his record, the big fights that he's had, the big fight experience, and he's performed on there. So I'll probably lean towards Inoue, because he can box as well. He's not just a puncher, so I will just lean towards him. But if Stephen Fulton wins the fight, I'm not going to be shocked, and I don't see it as a huge shock. I just see it as it's one of these great fights that are happening now, and what have happened in the past, where you have two fighters that are both capable of beating each other, and that's all you want at top level boxing. That is what you want. When it's champion versus champions and things like that, that is what you want, and that's what you expect, because they should both be top quality champions in unifications. Sometimes you get world champions that are world champions because of the opportunity at that time against a weak world champion, and then they become world champion. And but these are two top quality fighters. So I can't wait for it.
I mean, as we mentioned there, that fight next weekend, Spence-Crawford again, one which has divided opinion. Which way do you lean, Dave?
Well, have you watched the All Access Showtime's All Access?
Watched number 1. I haven't watched number 2 yet.
Mate, you're watching episode 1. You're watching episode 2, and it's focusing on Crawford for 5 minutes, and you're like, Crawford's got this. Crawford's going to win it. And then it switches to Spence, and it's like, Spence has got this. And that's kind of how it is. I've always lent towards Crawford because I feel he's got more dimensions to his game. But also, then as obviously you're watching it, you're like, you're living it, aren't you, in these build-ups for big fights. You're just a fan and fan of both fighters, but the occasion, the magnitude of the fight, you're just living in it and you're absorbing everything, and your mind keeps flipping and flopping all the time. And I look at Crawford, and what makes Crawford so exciting as well is that it can be it. He does roll that dice. He does. His style, he doesn't mind putting himself in danger to get what he wants out of the fight, and those exchanges, and that could be his undoing against somebody like Spence. And then you watch Spence when Spence is up close, and when Crawford wants to go to war, and when he wants to stand there and have a fight, you think, well, Spence could get to his body, and those body shots that he rips in, and you think, well, that could be his key to it. But then you watch Spence against Ugas, I think it was, and he looked like he was hurt a couple of times to the body. So then you think, well, Crawford could hurt Spence to the body. It's one of those fights, mate. I'm genuinely more excited for this fight than I've been for a lot of fights, and for most fights in my time in boxing. It's one of those that are right up there, because we've waited it for so long. Two knockout merchants, two clever boxers, two great fighters. I think boxing gets a lot of stick at the moment, but we're getting the big fights done. I mean, I was excited for Tank versus Garcia, and there's been all sorts of fights coming through. Haney against Lomachenko. We're getting the fights through, but people just focusing on all the shit that's not happening. I like to focus on what's happening, and these guys that are actually going in there and making the fights and putting themselves online. And for me, this is a fight for the ages. It really is. It's our era, the best of our era in that division. So if I had to have a gun pointed to my head, just purely because I feel as though he has got more dimensions, I will lean towards Crawford. But it's literally, I can't say that and then say it's 50-50. It is 50-50, but if I'm going to lean to one side, then it's 51. It's 51% Crawford's favour. It's one of those. But either way, can't fail to be a good fight. And I think as well, we don't want to see pay-per-view. No one wants to pay pay-per-view, but you have to in this modern day. Yeah, it's going to happen. That is. But I think I've seen the price point something like $19.95. That's a result. For me, that's a result for that fight. the magnitude, what it means for boxing, what it is. It can't miss. It can't fail to deliver. So for me, 1995, I'm happy to pay for that because it beats all the shit we've been getting at 26.95 and and 24.95, all that. This is the fight for me.
Dave, just away from that, last week we had the announcement of Joshua-Whyte 2. It's obviously not, as we mentioned, all those amazing fights happening. That's not necessarily the one of those, but it's where we're at. What are your thoughts on it?
No, it's not, but it's on a different level. This is a domestic fight. We still, listen, forget, obviously we want to see the big world level fights and things like that, but we still like a good domestic tear up, don't we? So Joshua against Whyte as a domestic tear up, I don't see there's anything wrong with that. They're both at this stage of the career where it's a crossroads fight. The winner moves on to something massive. The loser's got to look at themselves in the mirror and say, can I be asked to carry on? If they can, then it's kind of, you look at Chisora. Chisora's got that will to fight all the time, and he has all these losses in his record, but it doesn't really stop his marketability because you're going to get an entertaining fight with him, and he's going to give you everything. If either of these two feels or they can do the same thing, then there is still a path back into some big fights for them both because they're massive names, they're big names. But for the winner, it's everything. Obviously there's they're talking about AJ against Wilder, so there's a lot of pressure on AJ there going into this fight, and you got to respect the man for knowing that fight looks like it's going to be done. The big pot of money, the big test for himself there against Wilder. To put it on the line against somebody who's definitely going to be coming to try and knock you out, and who's definitely going to come and give it all, because that's all that Dylan does. So I haven't got a problem with it at this stage of their careers. It's one of those where, because they're both probably not the fighters that it was, sometimes that can make for quite an exciting fight.
Dave, some comments which were picked up on from Anthony Joshua, I'm sure you've seen them, with regards to his past trainers in Robert McCracken and Robert Garcia. What have been your thoughts on what AJ's had to say about his time with Robert, how he didn't feel like he helped him defensively, he didn't put enough time in with the pros and more so concentrated on the amateur scene?
Listen, it's very difficult to speak on something when you don't see it in hand. Maybe sometimes people... when things start to go wrong, people just highlight the stuff that probably weren't so great and forget about all the good stuff that perhaps got you to become world champion, got you to become, so successful as an amateur and what have you. Because McCracken did a lot for him. If he didn't teach him defense throughout his time that he worked with him, then he did a great job of avoiding getting it until he fought Vlad and then Ruiz, because if you've got no defense, you're not taught no defense. And let's be real, AJ is not the most. He's not a kind of guy where you can land a million shots on and there's going to be no effect. So he must have got some sort of defense about him in order to have the success he's had. So I just felt it was a little bit of a dig at McCracken. But again, unless you've watched the interview, sometimes in interviews they blow out one sentence that's kind of like taken out the context of the whole. I don't know if you've seen it all, then it's different. But if that's what he's alluding to, that he was never taught defense, then I think I don't know. It's a bit of a dig, and I'd be a bit surprised if McCracken never taught any defense. Same what you said about Carl Froch. Carl Froch digs out AJ all the time, so he's going to dig him back. That's a bit of fun between them two. For outsiders watching in, they're always harping on each other, especially Carl digging out AJ.
You seen Carl's reply?
No, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that. What he said?
Carl has said, why is he being so sensitive? If somebody's got a bit of constructive criticism, he should take that, especially somebody who's recently been inducted into the Hall of Fame. He needs to grow up a little and grow a pair.
I won't expect anything any different from Carl. But yeah, there's obviously, listen, Carl's got his loyalties to McCracken, so I feel as though he's been very defensive towards Rob since AJ left there, and I understand that. He's got his, they had a fantastic relationship, and Carl was with him all the way through. But yeah, I felt it was. I don't think it was, even if it's something that you felt when somebody's done that much for you and you've had that much success, then I think it's a bit of a dig and a bit of a cheap blow to bring it up so far. And I look at it this way: you've left Rob for whatever reasons, fighters, you know, like we said earlier on, fighters have to leave fighters for certain reasons at some point. Either it's not working together or you need to change or whatever. It happens. But he's had all that success with Rob. When he's left Rob, has that success been replicated? So if he's been taught defense and stuff like that now, you know, yeah, we don't know what's going to happen in the future, but has the success been replicated? Has his fight since he left Rob McCracken been any better? Has his performance been any? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know what he said about Garcia. I don't know. But listen, AJ is a big man and he'll say what he wants to say. And he's had a lot of success in his life and his career. So he'll have opinions on it because from the inside, from his point of view, you've got to look at it from both points of view. When you don't know what's there, you've got to look at it from both points of view. I just thought it just seemed a little bit dig, that's all, and an unnecessary dig, really.
All right, Dave, it's been a pleasure to catch up with you as always. I'm leaving now to enjoy what is left of your day. I'm sure I'll see you on a show soon. So thanks for speaking to me, and yeah, I'll see you soon.
Cheers, mate. Nice one.